The July 14th, 2014 Personnel and Finance Committee to order. I need approval of the agenda, please, unless there's changes. Have motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Public comment. Is there any public that wishes to comment? See no public out there. Okay. We'll move on to committee items. We need to review and pass the minutes from June 9th. Need a motion and support unless there's changes? Have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 Passes unanimously. Moving on to item 4, committee items. We have item B. It's a review of the drop retirement list. Basically for our review, any discussion or anything on action on that? Thank you. We'll move on to item C, finance report for May. Welcome, Mr. Latham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee members, we're presenting the monthly financials for the 5 months ended May 31st. Our benchmark is 41.7%, but our year-to-date expenditures are at 43.3%. However, again, the second quarter transfers occur in May, so that would actually increase the year-to-date expenditures. If we compare the results through May, this year with historical trends, we're pretty much on track in terms of both the revenue and expense, as shown on the graphs. So, any questions? Thank you.
Questions? Discussion? Thank you, Mr. Latham. Moving on to another finance item, Health Department budget adjustment. It's a pass-through. We received more money and we spent more money. It's just to keep the house in order. Any discussion? I need a motion and support to move this to the full board. We have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Moving on to the next finance item, it'd be a budget adjustment for Department on Aging. Okay, we have motion and support. No discussion. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? None. Thank you, board. Move on to item F. This will be the Lifeways refunding bond. Is there anybody here from the Treasurer's Office, or supposed to be? Okay, we have a motion and support. Discussion, please.
For the administrator, Mike, I would assume that there's no way this impacts our ongoing issues with them as far as finances? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Discussion is over. All in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 Those opposed? None. Passes unanimously. Moving on to item G, facilities. We have two action items right in a row, so if you'll describe each one, we'll vote on them separately.
Great. Well, good afternoon. Please bear with me. This is my first opportunity to experience this process, so I'll do my best.
Enjoy.
On the generator issue, as everyone is aware, the former daycare location at the Human Service Building being renovated to the dispatch area currently does not have generator backup power, and I believe it'd be essential to have that for the operation that it is. And the existing generators don't have the capacity to pick that up, so we'd have to have something separate. So the scope of the work and the specifications were developed by the architect and the engineer, and the bidders were Superior Industrial, Latin Electric, and Sexton Electric. And Superior's bid came in the lowest at $29,662. So I guess the strategic plan for this would be to cover the goal of the safe community. And the purchase the purchase of this part is anticipated $120,000 budget. At this point would leave us the expenditures of $36,461. So.
I have several questions. No, just kidding. Actually, maybe the administrator can answer this. This says this for the generator and also says for the lighting. It says anticipated $120,000 budget. Why does it say anticipated?
Anticipated because when we did the analysis for the different options for that facility, we anticipated $120,000 was going to be the construction costs for doing it at the Human Services Building versus at the jail or the other options we looked at. That's why it says anticipated.
All right, thanks.
What the staff report says is that after the purchase of the generator and the expenses today, there's $36,000 left. Or that we will have spent $36,000. That $120,000 includes the construction costs also, so there's still some expenses remaining.
Technical, is it diesel or natural gas?
It'll be natural gas.
Okay. I'd move the request.
Okay, I have a question now. Are we going to replace the old generator with a larger one that can handle the whole facility, or are we just going to leave the older one in place and buy a secondary one?
Yeah, actually, there's two in place now, and they'll stay in place to take care of the loads that they serve now, which would be some lighting, refrigeration, and air conditioning, the circulating pumps, that sort of thing. We remove those, and then we wouldn't have our supplemental power for, regular operation.
Okay. Come to a vote now. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, on to the lighting.
Okay, for the lighting, the same holds true, same location, and at this point, there is actually no light in there because it's been demoed, but same there, the call center that was previously the daycare center. The low bidder of McGowan Electric was $15,209.23, and the other bidders were Standard Electric at $15,569 and Kendall Electric at $17,090. So the analysis there, the strategic analysis there was to support the board's goal for a safe community. And at this point, with that expenditure, with that cost and the same numbers we were just discussing, the expenditure would be $51,670.
Okay, discussion? Motion and support. We have a motion and support. Proceed to vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? None. Thank you. Nice job.
Thank you.
Move on to item I. This would be the sheriff's request, approve of law enforcement services contract with Jackson College.
I assume you've had a chance to review the documents. We were approached about 2 months ago by Jackson College to provide law enforcement services for both campuses. It'd be both the southern campus and the northern campus on occasion. And you can see the details in front of you. The term of the contract is 5 years, totaling $388,000. Provides 40-hour per week coverage. As you may know, they're expanding their housing units nearly double the size. There'll be about 450 capacity on campus living. So that was one of the reasons for this move, and I would ask that you grant this request so that we can provide police service out there.
I'm supportive of this, but I got just a couple of questions, and we had talked about it briefly after Affairs and Agencies. I had read through the actual contract, and Sheriff, there wasn't any language on insurance or holding each other harmless. Was there thought about inserting that, or Mike, did you have any comments on that, maybe, or no?
I I was going to forward that to legal to have them look at, because we don't do that typically with the townships, because we really have all of the, as you know, all of the responsibility, but I understand the kind of delicateness dealing with this, another entity like this, so I guess I would stipulate that we would move this to legal and have them review it and put some sort of an indemnification in there.
Before the meeting on Tuesday, okay. And then the second question I'd also mentioned to Mike and the chair is, as part of the strategic plan about 5 years ago, we added an additional deputy that was to be for 5 years. I don't mean to put you on the spot, Sheriff, maybe Mike or Steve know, where are we at with that? Has that position run itself out, or how would that impact this, if at all?
I believe that was due to run itself out either the end of this calendar year or the next calendar year, but as you may be aware, we've not used any of that money till now. That transfer in has never been made, so we have not allocated any of the money for the extra deputy. And that would take further conversation to discuss the reasons behind that, but I can give you a very detailed answer about that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we're all clear then, Mike, that if this contract was to go away in 5 years, then this position would go away?
Absolutely.
All right, thank
There's
you.
also a 180-day out for either side, so we're both protected. If there's something we don't like about it, then 180-day notice, and we can back out of it that way, too. But, yeah, I understand that,
All
absolutely.
right, thank you.
Commissioner Lutchka.
Is the contract wording for this similar to those that we have for the townships?
Almost verbatim, yes. But there's other situations that have come up in the past that make this relationship somewhat unique that I think probably the chair made a good point prior to the meeting that maybe that needs to be added.
Just one more point. Number 9 in the contract says the contract shall extend upon written intention of the college and acceptance by the sheriff. I assume the board would have to approve it again, too, if it were to be extended beyond the 5 years?
Yeah, I would say so. Yes.
Thank you.
Question, Sheriff. This will be an armed officer?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I ask is, seems like where the shootings take place is on campuses, and I would hope we would be armed and ready to address that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the intention. I think I believe, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think that's Dan Phelan's concern too, that it's probably time with as many housing units as they've accumulated there. We have that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Administrator Overton.
Just one comment there. In regard to that element that says it can be renewed by the sheriff, since it says that in this agreement and you're approving that agreement, you're empowering the sheriff to renew the contract in 5 years, the way that's worded there. So if the board would want it to come back here,
Change that language.
we could just change that language so it would come back to the board.
Okay, that would be my preference. I think that it should come back to us after 5 years.
Okay.
I don't want to complicate things either, but I think the language is the same in all the township contracts, but we do come back to the board because you have to approve contracts anyway. I don't know if,
Exactly. I'm just splitting hairs here, but the language, we'll just take a look at that. We're going to run it by legal anyway, so we may as well
Sounds
fix
good.
that. Thank you.
okay.
Okay, well, I'll move for approval. I don't think there's been a motion yet. With that understanding, look at the insurance or hold harmless clause, and also to add the language that it comes back to the board after 5 years for renewal.
We have motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? None. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Moving on to J.C. Dot. Anybody here from J.C. Dot? Okay. They're requesting equipment builds for 2014 light-duty trucks. Questions, concerns, motions?
I'd move the request.
We have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? None. Passes unanimously. Move on to item K. We have equipment builds for 2 tandem axle dump and plow trucks. Discussion or motion? Support? We need a motion. Oh, motion and support? We have a motion? Okay. Okay, we have motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? None. Thank you, Board. Move on to item L. Another similar request, but this is for a fleet service truck to service on-job site vehicles when needed. Be a used truck. Discussion? Motion and support? Oh, Commissioner Elwell, go ahead.
Well, I can wait, or whatever. I got slight concerns with this. Looking at it, it's a 1999. I recognize they say it's in mint condition. It's got, I think, 36,000 miles on it, but it's a 15-year-old truck, and importantly, it's got a gas engine in it. It's a V10 gas, and I'm not so sure it's the wisest thing to do, especially knowing what we pay for new vehicles through My Deal. I took a quick look last night, and I think the E450 that I looked at through My Deal is about $31,000 for a brand-new one with a diesel. And I don't know if there's that much budgeted for this purchase, but I just am not so much sold on buying a used truck that's 15 years old.
Further discussion? My opinion on the gasoline engine is they pretty much always start in cold weather, where diesel sometimes will have difficulties. I don't know the mileage on this. 36,000, okay. Wasn't right here in front of me. What's your pleasure, Board? Commissioner Mahoney? Thank you. Commissioner Rice?
My comment is, 36,000 miles certainly is not many. Of course, being a 1999, obviously, there's a lot that could go wrong with it. But based on the information that we received here from Jerry, he was very thorough. It looks like this vehicle was looked over very thoroughly, and he's very confident that this has a lot of life left in it. So I certainly would have no problem supporting this.
And while this is an older piece of equipment, buying equipment myself, you buy it based upon condition, and I guess I'll have to defer to Jerry's experience and track record with the county here, and I'm going to support this also. He is the guy that has to live with it, so I'm sure he's not buying just something for the sake of buying it. Do we have a motion and support? No. We have a motion and support? Support. A motion and support. Let's proceed to vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Aye. Okay, let the record reflect it was a 4-1 vote. Thank you. Moving on to next item, item M, the Administrator Controller. Are you going to do this or refer to Adam?
Which one?
Item M?
Oh, we'll both talk about it, probably.
Okay, this will be Henrietta Township property.
I'll start us off. I went out and with Jerry and toured the property, drove around to see. I needed to go see it to understand and appreciate what they were talking about there. Adam did a great job with the pictures and drawing those lines on there, so it really does reflect well in the staff report on what is or is not. It's pretty straightforward. I've spoke to the township supervisor a couple different times. We're getting, from my perspective, the better end of the deal. We have a much larger space to store gravel and dirt and the like across the street. And of course, the space they are getting is more or less really to allow for the turning radius of a fire truck, is the way it's been explained to me. Adam, whatever you'd like to add.
I think you covered it pretty well.
Chair Lutchka.
Make the turns around the new fire.
100 feet.
But I think they absolutely have to have 66 feet.
Further discussion. Commissioner Elwell.
I guess I'd be curious, is there any liability that comes with leasing it, with it being an old dump, or probably just for whatever we do to it during the time we have it, I would assume?
Yeah, you'd be hard-pressed to show that they're storing gravel.
So we would in essence keep the old lot just minus 100 feet by whatever it is long, and then we would gain a 100-year lease on the large 4 point some acres? Okay. I'll move the request.